The Joyo DC15S is a practice amp that, to be honest, I don't really understand. Hello and welcome to another video with me, Elmo J. Karjalainen. It's good to have you along. Today we're taking a look at the Joyo DC15S, which costs €200 or $199. I don't know what it goes for in the States. You can let me know in the comments. It has 8 amp models plus an acoustic amp model plus a looper plus Bluetooth plus a drum machine and some effects. Let's try out some sounds and then I'll explain why I don't quite understand it. Oh, but before we get going, I'd like to say that this video is sponsored by the good people over on Patreon who support this channel because I buy the gear that I review, so you get an honest review. Thank you to everyone who's supported me that way. If you want to check that out, there's a link in the description. You get access to my music lessons and a bunch of exclusives. Thank you. Start with JC clean, tone, gain and volume halfway. Go from JC clean to just clean. Switch between those two. Next up, there's something called overdrive. Now it didn't do anything, it's like something disappeared. It's like it doesn't have any bass left. The cleans sound fairly full and nice, whereas this just, everything just disappeared. Blues. Crunch. Okay, now we got some of the bottom end back. Lead. Rhythm. So switch between lead and rhythm. Not a huge difference. And then we have metal. Let's go back to crunch and fiddle with tone first of all. All the way to 0. 10. Let's leave it at 2 o'clock, for instance. Gain, drop that a bit. And let's max that out. Let's go over to lead with these settings. And metal. And before I say anything, let's check out the space where we have delay. Add more of it. Even more. Max that out. Reverb. Max that out. And then you have chorus and stuff like that. And as you might notice, there's not a lot of gain going on. You could add something from an overdrive pedal. I have the SD1 in front of me. And go back to something like the crunch sound. Or lead. And that's about it. Those are pretty much the functions of the amp. You have some effects that I didn't use, but yeah, you get the point. And here's what I don't really understand about the amp. First of all, still, if you're making a €200 amp or $199, why on earth do you just have one rotary knob for delay that it shares with reverb, with no possibility of controlling different parameters of the delay, for instance? So it controls volume and, it controls just length. Volume is on full instantly when you turn it on. This is totally unusable. But that's not really the big issue for me. The big issue is price, coupled with the fact that Joyo has an amp called the DC15, which costs €100 less, actually 110 if I remember correctly. And the DC15 looks exactly like the Harley Benton Jambox. So the Harley Benton Jambox is just a rebranded Joyo DC15. Now, I haven't tried the DC15 by Joyo, but I have tried the Jambox, and it looks identical to the DC15, the panel does. And it sounds very similar to this. The speaker is slightly different. It's actually louder than this, weirdly, even they're both 15 watts. But this costs €110 more than the Harley Benton or the DC15. And once you get over the fact that it has these shiny knobs and a few more of them, you start to notice that the amp models are exactly the same as on the DC15 or the Jambox, and the controls are exactly the same, except that they've added a few things. And here's where we get to what really I don't understand, and what kind of, I guess, annoys me with some amps these days. See, it seems that they've just repackaged this and added Bluetooth, added a looper, added some functionality to the drum machine. and puts on a lot of money on the price. They've also added the possibility of saving a preset. Yay. But the sounds are pretty much the same. They're not... they're pretty... And the layout, now that I mentioned the layouts on the Jambox and the DC15 is exactly the same as on a Roland Microcube. This is a bit more advanced, but the controls for the actual amp and stuff like that are exactly the same. And the Roland Microcube sounds way better than this, in my opinion. And I just don't understand. Why do you invest effort into repackaging something, adding a looper, adding Bluetooth, adding basically just bells and whistles, and over doubling the price? Well, I know why, money, but still, this is what annoys me. It seems that a lot of companies and a lot of kids these days forget that the main thing with a guitar practice amp is how it sounds, and everything else is just bells and whistles. So you get a nice clean with this. You get overdrives that are, well, a bit meh. You get a totally unusable delay. It has a reverb, which is nice, but why have the delay if it's completely like... So what's my verdict? I would most definitely not get this. You do not need your amp to have a drum machine. It can be a nice thing. Well, when I say you do not need, I mean need. You can get something else, you can get a metronome to do that for you. Metronomes are free, you can use one from the browser, you can download an app onto your phone. I'm pretty sure that if you wanted to, you could download a drum machine onto your phone and just hook that up to any old amp. I'm not 100% certain, I haven't checked. But this is not, I mean, it's just not. Yeah, get something else. And if you want alternatives, there are 2 videos here with some cheap, very good alternatives. Other than that, I hope you check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description. And I hope you enjoyed this video and you have a nice day. Take care. Goodbye.